win. Got it. Luke May.
How about them Tar Heels? They are the national champions.
We're back. Time for another edition of the Carolina Insider. It's a rapid reactions edition of the show presented by Modelo. Coming after Carolina tops Pitt in the Smith Center 79-65. Jones and Adam here with you. Adam, like the Tar Heels topping Pitt by 14 in the Smith Center in and of itself, not exactly newsworthy. But the fact that the Tar Heels were without Caleb Wilson, which the Tar Heels knew leading up to the game, and unfortunately don't expect to see Caleb, at least for some period of time, although unspecified. But then, game time decision, Henry Vasar also doesn't play. And Adam, you could almost feel it in the Smith Center when the Tar Heels ran out for the last time, and people who maybe, obviously hadn't been, well, they should have been listening to the pregame show on the radio, Reese Jewelers pregame show, but if they hadn't heard or hadn't been checking their phone or whatever, you could almost see people go like, wait a second, Vasar's not out there either? And so for Carolina to be able to do this, albeit against a team the Tar Heels are better than and should beat certainly at home, to do this without those two guys, I almost don't even care who you're playing. I thought it was an impressive performance.
And a complete effort up and down from everyone who played, which is what you need on a game like this. You don't have your two individual stars, so you need the team to be the star, and the team was the star.
Yeah, I like that, Adam. And so I talked to Coach Davis. Adam talked to Jiren Stevenson, who had a big game. We'll let you hear those interviews and see those interviews in a moment. Before the game, Adam, I asked Coach Davis just that, saying, hey, Caleb Wilson, you're not going to replace Caleb Wilson, but how do you try and minimize the impact of his departure? And he said, everybody has to step it up a little bit. And, Adam, I think we got to start with Zayen High. First career start for Zayen High. He goes out and puts together a career high in points with 15, a career high in rebounds with 7, and he didn't just have the production. Like, he was good. Like, he made some really good plays.
It was remarkable how under control he played, considering that in some shorter stints, we've seen him try to cram like everything he did today into like 90 seconds. And when he just kind of slows down a little bit and lets the game come to him, and he looks more like that guy that we see in practice who can make moves like this, has a nice soft touch around the rim, is aggressive and willing to take the ball to the basket and attack his defender. Hubert Davis sees this in practice pretty regularly. We just haven't seen it in games so far.
Yeah, and remember, we talked a lot about it at the beginning of the year, both on this show and others, of the Zayen High that you saw in practice was not the same one that you had been seeing on the floor, but certainly did translate today. Adam, next is the gentleman you spoke to afterwards. That's Jiren Stevenson. And, Stevenson obviously has been a pretty regular starter for Carolina, but he comes today with 19 points. That's a Carolina career high for him. And just the thing that the big word with Jiren Stevenson, activity, it just felt like he was active all day, including, of course, shooting the ball well.
And I think indicative of how important he is that he played more minutes than anybody else. Carolina felt like it needed him out there for the shooting, of course, like these. He's shot the ball better here lately, but also for some of the other things he does. Blocking shots, battling for loose balls, trying to get rebounds. When he's that guy, he's an important guy to have, whether you have Caleb Wilson and Henry Vasar or not. He's a weapon.
So he had 19, High had 15, and then Adam, Luka Bogovac and Seth Trimble both with solid games. You could tell that – well, let me start with Luka, actually. We were talking about at the beginning of the game when people kind of realized, Vasar's not playing either. And it felt like Bogovac and Stevenson, their production early in the game made everybody feel a little bit better and just kind of started the momentum for the Tar Heels.
The day could have felt much differently. I mean, if you start those first 7 minutes going 2 for 9 or something, then kind of a pall casts over the Smith Center. Luka doesn't know anything about a pall. Luka knows that he's open and the ball's going up. I think Tar Heels made their first 7 shots, built an 18-8 lead. He was a huge part of that. He made open shots, which is something that is important for Carolina, and sometimes they haven't done. They did it today, and he was a big part of that.
And finally, Trimble, Adam, I mean, the guy you knew that needed, and he's been a leader on and off the court all year, but particularly without Wilson and Vasar, you knew he just had to be even more Seth Trimble. And I thought, especially maybe the first like 3 quarters of this game, he was really, really good. There were a couple shots late that I think he'd probably want to have back that are makeable shots, but man, he was active. That was a big play. Pitt was making a little bit of a push. He got a strip and then ends up scoring here. Just made some nice plays.
On a day when you know you're going to need some offense from somewhere because you're missing about 40 points, he drew 8 fouls, by far the highest in the game, and went to the free throw line 11 times. Yeah. So not just scoring from the field, but able to do it from the line. He made them when he got the chance. That was an important part of the offense too.
Also, just a quick tip of the cap to Derek Dixon. Still having a tough time shooting. Derek hadn't shot it great these last few games, but 7 rebounds for him, which is a freshman season high, and 7 assists, which matched his freshman season high. So even though he didn't shoot it great, did some stuff to help Carolina win and did a nice job pushing the tempo as well, which is something that I'll talk to Hubert Davis about coming up right now. I talked to Coach Davis. Adam talked to Jiren Stevenson, who had those 19 points. Let's get to those interviews. We'll come back and look ahead here on the Rapid Reactions edition of the Carolina Insider. Coach Davis just walking in as Carolina gets the 79-65 win over Pittsburgh today in the Smith Center. Coach, you and I were talking before the game, and you said, look, everybody's got to step up a little bit. They did. Yeah, we were talking about Caleb, but also then you find out that Henry also can't go today. But I was going to say, just like you did, it seemed like everybody stepped up a bit today.
Yeah, I told the team after the game that I feel like today was more an example of what Carolina is than any other day. I mean, we just, hear the news the last, couple days with Caleb, and then this morning with Henry, and over the last couple of days we were preparing for what the lineup looked like today, but what it might look like if Henry played. And so it's like 2 different game plans and just giving them different stuff. And I'm just so proud of how they practice. It is such a great example for life. You never know when your number is going to be called. Zayen, this time last week, had a DMP against Duke, and a week later he's starting, and look what he did. I mean,
15-7.
15-7. I mean, that's just, you don't know when your number is going to be called, but when your number is called, are you ready to step up? And Zayen stepped up. Everybody did. Jiren, Lucas, Seth. Everyone did we had 18 assists, only 4 turnovers. Just really, really proud of this group.
It was a career high for Zayen High in both points and rebounds today, a season high, so a Tar Heel high for Jiren Stevenson with the 19 points. Also, Derek Dixon set a career high for rebounds with 7 and matched a career high with assists with 7 as well. Coach, you mentioned those turnovers, and I know that was something you guys were frustrated with at Miami. You thought you had some sloppy turnovers that hurt you, much more like the team that you've been most of the season today.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge for us. I always talk about the 3 boxes that we have to check, and it's defense, rebounding, and the last one is taking care of the basketball. And, when we don't, we struggle defensively and rebounding, and we really took care of the basketball today. We made the easy play. That's just huge for us. And, when you get shots every possession, you don't turn the ball over. That's really efficient offensively and usually make shots, and that's what we did today.
Coach, I remember Coach Smith said this, where if you have a key player get hurt, a lot of times a team could kind of summon it up for a game and play well even if somebody was missing. I know this is a $1 million question here. How do you try and keep replicating this for as long as you don't have Caleb or as long as you don't have Henry?
Well, you have to. There's no other choice. As we talked before the game, the reason why we're 20-5 is not just because of Caleb and Henry. It's because they're a good basketball team. And so even though that they're out, we still have a good basketball team. And if you just show up and fight and compete, that's what I told him. I said all the technical stuff in terms of how we're playing ball screens, our plays, which we're going to run, all that other stuff, that's important. But the most important thing is, are you willing to competitively fight? And these guys did it. I mean, honestly, for the whole – we stayed the course. There was a letdown from an offensive standpoint where we settled for jump shots and we didn't take it to the basket. But our energy and our effort, it was there for the entire game. There wasn't a stretch where we took a deep breath. We really played well, and as I said before, I'm just extremely proud of them.
Last thing, Coach, 16 fast break points today, and I know you guys try to play fast all the time.
We just had to get rid of Caleb and Henry, you know. I mean, they're slowing us down. I'm like, let's go.
But it did feel, I mean, there was a noticeable pushing of the pace, it felt like, from your team today.
I did. That was one of the first things that I told them a couple days ago. I said, guys, we actually got to go faster. I said, if we're playing this lineup, we've got to go faster. And I said, we can live in primary break where we're getting fast break points, layups, dunks, deep post catch, get fouled, get to the free throw line, and quick open threes. And so I really liked, because that's an area that we've struggled with of late, not getting in transition, but converting in transition. And I felt like we got back to getting those transition points that we always do at Carolina, and it was nice to see.
Was indeed, as Coach referenced, the 20th win for the Tar Heels. That's every year under Coach Davis that Carolina's had at least 20 wins, and the 20th time in the last 22 seasons that the Tar Heels have had at least 20 wins on a season. Coach, congratulations on the victory, and we'll see you first Monday night for the radio show, but then also Tuesday night in Raleigh.
I'll see you on Monday.
We'll be there.
Alongside Jiren Stevenson after Carolina beats Pitt, Jiren, a big part of the Tar Heel offensive effort that helps get that win. Jiren, I think there was some concern with a couple guys missing. Where would the points come from? How were the Tar Heels able to get so many good shots and convert them throughout the whole game?
Yeah, I knew people would step up. We've been seeing it in practice. Zayen's been playing really well in practice, so yeah, I'm not surprised that he stepped up and got some clutch defensive stops, rebounds and stuff. Lucas stepped up too. The guards were making great passes, which also helped our scoring inside and our pick and pops too. So yeah, I feel like a lot of people stepped up and made plays.
Felt like the ball really moved a lot. What was the emphasis from the coaches offensively about how to get those shots?
Yeah, so we had like a smaller lineup, so we knew we had to play faster, make different plays, and still get the ball inside and out. But it'd be a different look for sure. So just we'd be a little faster having a smaller lineup. So just going out there and making plays like that.
Coach Lebo said at halftime he had told y'all that you needed to play like subway rats. How does a subway rat play?
I didn't even really hear that. I guess, just constantly moving around, creating confusion for the defense, even like defensively playing as subway rats, pressuring and, creating confusion that way, taking them out of their offense, making them uncomfortable. Just constant motion and, creating confusion that way.
There's been some slow starts lately where Carolina's had to come back from being in a hole. Today was the complete opposite. Get out to an 18-8 start and made the first, 7 shots in a row. Yeah. What was the key in that stretch?
Yeah, we knew we had to bring the energy from the beginning. That was going to set the tone for the game. Just coming out, making plays early is going to be like a huge part for the rest of the game. I feel like, again, our guards did a really good job setting us up. Starting off was 7 for 7. It was really good, and I'm proud of our guys.
Anytime we see a Tar Heel with something wrapped, we get concerned. What's going on with your elbow right here?
Just a little, golf ball in there. Fell on it, and it's a little swollen, but I should be good.
Didn't affect the shooting stroke, made 3 3-pointers. What feels good with your shot right now?
The rhythm. I'm getting good passes from the guards. They're able to draw too and just able to find me. I've been working on, different movements into the shot, different pick and pop. So I feel like that's been helping me get comfortable and get into a good rhythm with my jump shot. I feel like even though I hit 3 threes, I feel like it's a team effort because they're setting me up, whether it's drawing two and pick and popping or driving and kicking and different things like that. And then they're also hitting me in my shot pocket, which is really helpful as a shooter.
Drake Powell was at the game today. You guys were teammates for one season in Pittsburgh. How nasty was that team? That had Drake Powell and Jiren Stevenson. Yeah, we made it to the state championship as freshmen. So. Yeah, I guess that's something. We made a statement as freshmen, and Drake's a great player. He's doing his thing in the NBA, and we definitely made some noise as freshmen. And Jiren Stevenson made some noise today as a Tar Heel. Carolina beats Pitt. Jiren's a big part of it. Jiren, thank you.
All right, thank you.
So 79-65, the final score in total. Now, Adam, Coach Smith told me, didn't tell me, but we heard Coach Smith through his years, of course, of his incredible career at Carolina, say when a team loses a great player, a lot of times they can pick it up and put it together for one game. And you saw that today. Carolina did that. Now, you hope that Henry Vasar is back on Tuesday. We don't know that for a fact, but you hope that he returns, which will help. But at State, at Syracuse next week, and then a quick turnaround to Louisville in the Smith Center on Monday, a lot different than, all due respect to Pitt, a lot different than Pitt today. So, yes, good. The Tar Heels did what they needed to do today, but it will need to continue.
3 games in fewer than 7 days, all against good teams, 2 in unfamiliar environments. Huge week for Carolina. My biggest question would be, can they play that way, the way they did against Pittsburgh, if you add Henry Vasar back in? Like Hubert Davis just talked with you about how hard they competed. There's no reason you can't do that with Henry Vasar and or Caleb Wilson for a full 40 minutes. Haven't really seen it consistently yet, but you're going to have to do it in those 3 games.
So, Tar Heels do win it again, 79-65. Quick note, that is win number 20 for the Tar Heels. That's 5 consecutive years and 20 of the last 22 years that Carolina has won 20 or more games. Of course, the number of games you've played have changed through the years, but still does speak to the relative level of consistency, of course, that Carolina basketball has achieved through the years. So, Tar Heels do win it, 79-65, and a big week upcoming for the Heels. For now, we say goodbye. It's a rapid reactions edition of the Carolina Insider, presented by Modelo.
Jordan, look at that! May for the win. Got it! Luke May! How about them Tar Heels? They are the national champions.